Do you ever think about what it used to feel like going into a game store? Like, there's just something warm and fuzzy about looking at old footage of midnight launches from the 90s and 2000s. Life just felt different. And I get it, we were kids, filled with wonder and imagination, and these stores felt like treasure chests full of stuff we longed to have. And so nostalgia is definitely a factor, but I walk into my local game store now and it just feels devoid of any sense of life. And I don't mean the staff are usually the best remaining part, it's the stores themselves. Like the shelves are somehow full and yet also feel empty. And it got me thinking, where'd all the games go? Like, it's not just a game store thing, it also feels like a prominent thought across all of games. Like, how many times do you watch a Nintendo Direct or a State of Play or Summer Games Fest only feeling like a handful of the games looked new or exciting? For me, it's all the time. These events will have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 things that seem genuinely exciting, like a big franchise returning, or a bright, wholly original indie concept, or an auteur developer's next title. But outside of that, surrounding that, is like an hour and a half of nothing original. Like, everything in those moments can fall into several categories, like there's live service games, cozy farming sims, roguelikes and souls-likes, and honestly, not much else. And don't get me wrong, I love the Souls games, so I've enjoyed some good Souls-likes, and I've loved a few of the original distinct roguelikes and the cozy farming sims. But so many of these games feel like they exist purely because of the popularity of that genre or mechanic, and not because they have anything interesting to say or do with them. I don't want to seem like I'm doom posting, like I'm not trying to say that there have been no original, incredible games lately, because my favourite game of all time released a few years ago, and you have industry-defining greats like Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, and Death Stranding on the Beach in the last few months alone. It just feels like every time one of these titles comes out, we get 10 similar games in the next year trying to ride its coattails, instead of doing something original. I get it, this industry is fast moving and there must be constant pressure on the development side of things to strike while the iron's hot on trends and the like, and we know crunch and poor working conditions are a huge problem, and I wish for everybody's sake that the industry would just slow down and focus on more creating and developing. Like, maybe I'm in the minority, but I'm more than happy patiently waiting longer for new games to come out, because I truly believe that less crunching and rushing would breed more creativity and originality. I'd be lying if I said that the content of the games themselves was the only problem. It also feels like there's not really such thing as a physical game anymore. I mean, of course, there is, I'm being a bit sensationalist, but often I'll go to a store, think a game looks interesting, and read the back of the box to see that there's actually no cartridge or disc inside. It's simply a code in the box, a digital game being sold at a higher price usually than it is fully digitally, purely for the allure of it being a physical game, despite not really being a physical game. And that sucks. When I was a kid, I couldn't afford many games, so choosing each one I bought felt like a really important decision, but one of the greatest charms of not being able to buy every game is that I used to put so much time and love into the ones I did get, and when I was done with them, I would trade them in to buy another one, and it felt like you were passing that great experience you just had onto someone else. There was a weird, childlike magic to it. Now, where I'm from, there's really no such thing as a trade-in system at our game stores anymore. Presumably because half the games stocked wouldn't be eligible for trade-in because they're empty cases anyway. There are, of course, stores that exist exclusively to sell pre-owned games, and I'm happy that they're keeping that system alive, but they don't focus exclusively on gaming, so the feel of it all just isn't the same. Another contributing factor is probably all the recent talk about ownership. I won't pretend to be an expert on this subject, there are absolutely better people to talk about this, but it feels pretty hard to ignore right now. This idea that companies can at any time just take a game offline and sunset it, rip it from the communities that are still playing it, like The Crew for example. I don't think it's too much to ask that the games we buy and spend our money on we should get to own permanently, without the prospect of the experiences being completely ripped away from us anytime these companies feel like it. If you agree with me, I'd urge you to sign the Stop Killing Games petition you've probably been hearing about lately. I'll leave links in the description. I know the truth of the matter is that all of this stuff, this is just change, you know, like, maybe this is just the way the world and the industry is going now, however depressing that might be, and I just need to accept it. But, I don't know, I have a hard time accepting change like that, change that seems to make my life worse, but I have no real say in it. I hate stuff like that. I just miss that feeling of being so young and a trip to the game store feeling like an event and the shelves and possibilities seeming so endless. Even if I only had like a $5 in my pocket, life just felt better then, in a way that I wish it did now. It feels so long ago and distant, and yet also like it was 2 days ago. I get that with a lot of things, especially looking back on my childhood. I feel a little more like time flows through me rather than I flow through it. Not in some cool time travel way, I just mean that time itself can feel jumbled up and relative. An hour in my darkest moments feels comparative to 10 hours in my brightest. So often when I feel great in my life, I wish to live slower, to absorb more, to enjoy life more, to notice more. And yet when life does go slower, it seems harder, more difficult. I don't know, I'm in a rough spot at the minute. Days bleed into the next and I feel like I'm losing track of it all. And it just sucks that in all of that, video games are what I've consistently known to bring safety and joy and a bit of my childhood back to me. And yet now they're changing. There's less of them that are interesting, digital marketplaces are filled to the brim with shovelware, events rarely have more than 5 exciting announcements, and even those few games that do break the mold, well, some of those could be ripped from us at any time if the publisher so chooses. I love video games. I think they have such a capacity for good. You know, I mentioned a few videos ago a study that ended with the statement, "Effective interventions for emerging adults are sorely needed at this time." And I talked about how I resonate with that and how I'm glad that consistently video games have offered me effective interventions. But I'm just going through a rough moment, one that will pass, I know it will, but my effective interventions are changing. They're shrouded in corporate greed, ownership debates and controversies, and I can't even go to my local video game store anymore and choose a game as a brief positive event to look forward to at the end of the month. In all of this doom, it's so easy to ask myself, where did all the games go? But that would be me putting blinkers on and choosing not to see that there are great developers still making great games. Some of them making games because they want to talk about that struggle and mental health, and I don't want to ignore the clear passion they're pouring into this industry to try and get it back on track. They give me hope that as lost as I feel at the moment, video games will find me again. Some games I'm really excited about are Mina the Hollower. I'm also currently playing Hollow Knight for the first time at the moment for a video, so I'm really looking forward to Silksong. I'm still super excited about Metroid Prime 4 and felt that boxing looks great too, and I see so many indie devs on TikTok currently crafting great video games, working with their communities to bring their ideas to life. The industry is changing, but I have hope because I know that there are still a lot of wonderful people working in it to change it for the better. Thank you for watching this video. Sorry it's been a while since the last one. Like I said, I've been going through a bit of a rough patch for a while now. I'd love to hear about the games you're excited about in the comments down below so that I can get excited about them too. If you liked the video, please do consider sticking around and subscribing, and check out our Discord. The link is in the description and we'd love to have you over there.